So people have been asking, what happens when a Holy Father dies? Many of you, I'm sure, have been watching Hollywood movies on the subject. Hollywood seems to love the whole idea of the Pope and the Vatican and the succession, etc. Some of the movies are well done, some of them are kind of silly. But I think that it might be good to kind of go back in and see exactly what the procedure upon the passing of a Supreme Pontiff might be. Once the death of the Pope is ascertained, it needs to probably be ascertained clearly by a physician or a medical personnel. And once that has been ascertained, then you have the official protocol of the Vatican jumping in, right? So you have the Pope's assistants and, of course, the main figure, who is the Camerlengo, or the Chamberlain. Chamberlain is English for Camerlengo, which is Italian for the same word. And so he steps up and performs a number of tasks. The first task is to officially pronounce the Pope dead. The second task is to take the ring off, the official ring of office, off the Pope's finger, put it in a special device, and break the seal, basically making that ring, you can't use it anymore. So what's the point? The point is that in ancient times, when a seal ring was actually a seal ring, you used it to seal decrees and documents, then you need to basically protect against forgery. Right now, it basically has maintained a pretty symbolic function. You shatter his ring. The new Pope will get his own ring with his own seal. After this, they dress him, and my research told me that in some instances they dress the Pope all in a white cassock in order to transport him, and then for the viewing of the body, they dress him in a red cassock with all the accoutrements. I don't know what this Pope will do. He seems to have changed a lot of the protocols and it basically made them simpler. So once the Pope died, there was some time to show his body, to lie in state at the Vatican. That's, if you will recall, John Paul II and Benedict XVI, there was a days, and they would put the Pope in the coffin, an open coffin, for people to view. There were two tiers of observation. One was for important people coming in, cardinals, prelates, family perhaps, who would come in and have a private viewing, and then you had everybody else, and it would take place in St. Peter's Basilica. From what I understand, Pope Francis has done away with the private viewing, and now there will just be a general viewing, if and when the time comes. And it's a pretty much of a circus atmosphere too. It's one of devotion, but there's lots of people lining up in St. Peter's Square to pay their devotions to the Holy Father. So that's the next step. Then, of course, you have the Pope is prepared for burial, and traditionally, the ancient tradition was that the Pope would be buried in 3 consecutive coffins during this period of mourning. Now, the period of mourning from the time of the death of the Pope would be about 9 days. So it's known as the Novendiale. And this is a tradition dating back to ancient Rome, of course. So he's prepared, and you would put him in 3 coffins. And the 3 coffins have various materials, which I think was kind of interesting, even though this Pope has decided that he only wants to be buried in 1 coffin. So traditionally, the first coffin was made of cypress because it's a precious wood to indicate that the Pope was special. The zinc coffin came next, and sealed with lead, which indicated durability. And then finally you had an elm coffin, again a precious wood. The Pope instead has decided that he just wants to be buried in a wooden coffin lined with lead. In the coffin you would put 3 bags of coins, 1 of gold, 1 of silver, and 1 of copper, the number of the coins representing each year of the pontificate. In the coffin as well, they put what is called in Italian a rogito, R-O-G-I-T-O, rogito. And really in Italian, a rogito is any kind of official document. So a deed is also a rogito. Okay, so just think about that. It's a legal document detailing the details of the pontificate that gets buried with the Pope in his coffin. So the coffin gets sealed, and then we proceed to burial. And now, traditionally, then of course you have the burial mass and all the cardinals attend, etc. Who can forget the most amazing homily that was done during the funeral for John Paul II? Remember, Benedict XVI gave his famous dictatorship of relativism homily during that time. So then, the popes traditionally were buried in the crypt below St. Peter's Basilica. If you've ever been to Rome, there's right below. You can access it actually in front of the baldacchino. There's some spiral stairs. You can go downstairs. And all the popes, a lot of the popes have been buried there, you know, for the past few centuries anyway, although some popes have been buried elsewhere. This pope, Francesco, really loves the Basilica of St. Mary Major, has a particular devotion. So it looks like he will probably ask to be buried in the Basilica of St. Mary Major. As Catholics, what can we expect in our own diocese? Well, I know that we will have certain open signs of mourning, such as the door, the entrance doors. One of the entrance doors to our churches will be draped in black as a sign of mourning until the next pope is elected. Another thing to keep in mind is that at some point, as soon as the pope is dead, there will be almost immediately a pronunciation of sede vacante, which means the see is open, that there is no one on the throne, okay? And that will inaugurate the period of the interregno or interregnum, which means inter and regnum, or reign. So it's a period in between two reigns. So that is what sede vacante means, and that's what interregnum means. That is the period of time right after the Pope dies, when the see is pronounced empty, and there is a period in between two reigns.